Hello and welcome to Funny Mummies, the podcast for people that hate parenting podcasts. I'm Hatty Ashdown, comedian and writer, and I'm blessed with two lively boys. Each show I'm joined by funny mummies from the world of comedy, but also those that are aunties or friends, because let's be honest, we all need the help of our non-tired mates. Join us as we find the funny side of parenting, life, and being bloody great women.
Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day to you! Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day to you!
Welcome to this new series of weekly podcasts for the Funny Mummies. We thought it would be nice for us and you to do a check-in in this pandemic. So, how are you? For us, it's certainly a testing time. And one bugbear that remains in my house anyway is the homeschooling. Or really just getting my 4-year-old to do anything that isn't his original choice. My thing with homeschooling is trying to make it more natural, less stuffy. To me, it's all about, the tone of voice. They just can smell when you're trying to get them to do something that's schoolwork, even if you have. So I have the fun teacher voice. Hey, Hux, wouldn't it be cool if we did this for Miss Ellaby? And he's still like, no. Or trying to do the relaxed teacher voice. Gosh, look at all these egg boxes. Do you think we could make something for your teacher, Hux? No! just smell it. No matter what voices I do, he just knows. All this, and I've roots in my hair, that is. I don't know where else roots would be. I've put on weight. No time to myself. The other day, I lost it in homeschooling, but I threw a chair at the wall, walked out the house, and walked all the way to Wilco's for some plant pots. This is the New World Rebellion. That brings me to patience, our topic for today. So let's meet up with our panel and see what they have to say. So first up is peas to my carrots, the belt to my trousers. I'm struggling with these now. The Miranda to my Carrie. Would you maybe? Yeah, exactly. It's Gemma Beagly.
Hey.
And
Hatty.
Yeah.
You said egg boxes.
Yeah.
Where are you getting the fucking eggs from, eh?
I got sauces.
We're all out. My way. You can't get an egg for love nor money, mate.
Let's just say I had to get inside a wheelie bin. And not mine. So next up in our panel today, she is a first time on Funny Mummies, but she's done my Screaming with Laughter gig, and I met her at another gig, and I thought she was lovely. And she's a stand-up, of course, and writer for Radio 4's The News Quiz, The Now Show, and News Jack, radio comedy, The Specials, which is recently on Radio 4. She's mother of 3. I'm right, aren't I? Yeah, I just suddenly panicked. Yeah. And also, I didn't check. I always never quite sure how to pronounce your name, Jenny.
Laville.
It is Laville.
Yeah.
Laville.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. You're asking about that rather than Jenny, aren't you?
Yeah. So we can all see each other, which is nice. So Jenny, how are you doing? You've gone brunette, which are normally blonde, but did you say you've done this since the lockdown?
Oh, definitely. I did it like last week. I just got so sick of looking at myself in the mirror and going, you again. So I thought maybe, I could change my hair and go, oh, hi, how are you? We haven't met before.
Oh.
Didn't really work. Like I said to you earlier, I just looked like Professor Snape. I just looked irritated. I looked tired. But it looks glowing, so I'm going with it. It's just different. It's either this or walking around the house naked all the time. And the boys object, to be honest. They don't like it.
So tell us your setup, because we always like to get a feel of, what we're dealing with. So you're home alone?
I am home alone. I work from home anyway, generally, so there's not a huge change there. What I usually do, though, is work home alone. And now I don't get to do that because I have 3 boys. I've got a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. Oh, God, I hate it when you test on these things. I can never remember. Just don't ask me what the names are because then I will definitely be stuck. And an 11-year-old.
Right.
And they're obviously all home at the same time as me, all trying to work, all trying to do schoolwork. So that's my setup. But I
Wow.
recently split up, so at least I get my weekends to myself because they go to their dads.
Oh,
That's sweet times.
sweet times. And yeah, God, so many topics I then want to jump in at. And so
Yeah.
really, okay, let's just stick with lockdown for the moment then.
Yeah.
So generally, how's that going with your patients, shall we say?
Well, my patience it's a good question, and I think patience is a brilliant topic to be starting off with because it's exhausting. Because usually my kids are older, I think it's very different. You two both have young kids, don't you?
Mhm.
Gemma's is her son's the same
5,
age as
yeah.
mine, so they're in both in reception.
So that's like you can't even like go for a piss without them bugging you and knocking on your door and stuff like that. It's like it's pretty bad. Whereas my kids are a bit older, so I'm like, I'm naked here, and they will just stay away for hours. So that's all I have to do. So it's a bit different, but at the same time, I do have my kids. One of them's autistic, and one of them's got ADHD.
And the one is he young? Which one? Just so I...
The middle one. So he's
one.
Yeah, so he's 13. He's just turning into a teenager now.
And how does that manifest itself?
Well, he's obviously all autistic kids are different, just like all neurotypical kids are different. And he's not. He's very much, he likes to exist in his own world. So I could just, like, as far as patience goes, I could just let him exist in his own world, and frankly, barely speak to him throughout the day. But so I have to like check myself and go, no, I haven't spoken to James, and he's like been doing his own thing. So
he's quite quiet because without sounding like, oh yeah, you get ones that talk a lot and ones that don't. I don't want to come across as like ignorant, but I did, believe it or not, I did work for a short time as a TA in a school. Yeah, we did. And I worked with an autistic adult though, so it's a bit different. And it wasn't in a education capacity. It was just taking him out to the cinema, really. But he was high functioning. He hardly he has like 27 word vocabulary, something like that. But yeah, I still sort of divide it down to go in the ones that talk a lot, the ones that don't.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because at the same time that he's like, when he doesn't have, I mean, this is sort of the perfect storm for my particular autistic kid, because he would rather just exist in a world where he is the only occupant on the planet, so that's so he's sort of loving it, but
he's loving lockdown.
Yeah, he is in a way, he is, because there's no challenges, he doesn't have to go to school. He doesn't have to communicate with other people. He doesn't have to cope with, but that's not the world, and that's not life. And so my homeschooling for him is to bizarrely provide him stress. It's like I have to stress him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's educating him. That's
sure. And isn't that weird? I have to kind of challenge him. So my problem at the moment is I've got like 3 different tones. I have a 16-year-old who's just been told he doesn't have to do exams.
Wow. And how does he feel about that?
He was absolutely fucking fine with that, babes. Is it okay to swear on the podcast?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, he is fucking fine with it. He was doing okay. He's but coasting, and so he's like, I'm fine. So motivating him is very difficult, right? Because he's done. I have the middle one, so I have to constantly like stimulate him. The middle one, who's autistic, I have to kind of like just every now and then just go blah, just to wake him up. And then the ADHD one, I have to bring down a lot. So
wow,
Jenny, these are the tones that I'm working with. But yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, I mean, people have it a lot harder, especially with I had these catch-ups with the teacher who teaches my autistic son, and the challenges that some of those families have with kids who are much more challenging than James,
Right.
and who are like aggressive or, you know, are really scared. That's much harder than I have. But yeah, it's a weird one. How about I really am interested in how you're finding it with young kids though, because there's a relentlessness there.
Gemma?
Go on, tell us.
Well, mine's turned into Al, my son, stayed up late about 6 weeks ago and hasn't been able to go to bed at a normal fucking time for 6 weeks. Like he fucking went to Australia and he's jet lagged. So this morning, the day he got up I got him up about 10:15.
Not unreasonable.
Sure, if you're like a teenager hungover or whatever. So really I've just kind of shifted the day, but so it's it's like I try and get like half an hour of some kind of phonics or reading or writing out from it, and then that is it. Like that is it. I'm not fucking fighting. I'm not fucking doing it. And I mean that's not giving up, but it's just like as long as I just get him to.
Sweden, they don't even go to, or some Nordic countries. They don't even go to
kindergarten and all that. Exactly.
Yeah, till they're 7. I've been hanging on that, Jen. I've been hanging on that.
She's very Scandinavian. It's very Scandinavian.
Yeah, did you not know? My friend who does. I'm going to say something to you, and I don't want you to pass out. I'm gonna say it. Awful words, but my friend who recently told me that she has been permanently homeschooling since January.
Oh, okay.
Because I haven't spoken to her. She's like, it's not a close friend. It's somebody, you know, in and out of my life.
Was she quarantining, is she?
No, we're talking about homeschooling. But we've been homeschooling since January. We just decided to homeschool her son. He wasn't having a great time at school. And I was like, don't swear to me. But it's working out for her. But her son is a year older than mine. So I think he's like, in year 1. And she's like, has a lot of trouble with the writing, like I do with Huts. And she's just like, not stressed about it for that reason. She's like, I think she is half French. Her mum's French. She's like, they don't start, doing a lot of more learning stuff until they're 7. And she said he's so much happier now he's at home. Yeah. But how am I finding out? I mean, for me, Gemma's heard this loads of time, but the main struggle was because I've got a toddler as well. So it is the same as, but so we couldn't give Huxley much time. But as it's gone on, and we've now, me and Gemma have talked a lot, and I've been professionals, teachers, and all that, just like going a bit mad, and my own counsellor, and because she works with children, and she's like, look, just lower the bar, bar. And that's why it is now just literally, if we can get 20 minutes of concentration, I would say.
But like anything that you do with them is one-to-one, right?
Yeah,
so the time that you spend with them is way more than anything that I remember when I was looking at, because of the kids having special needs and not being sure if I would get the school provision that they needed. I did look into, and also because I used to be like a massive yummy mummy, like I was shit at it, but I was trying that kind of thing.
What does that mean? I don't even know what it means to be yummy mummy.
Well, you try and like talk to them in a positive voice and make cupcakes and shit, but I just wasn't very good at it. But I did try, and I looked into the whole doing homeschool instead, because I thought maybe that I wouldn't be able to get that kind of provision. And so I did think about it, but at the end of the day, I realised that we could go into homeschooling, but not all of us would come out alive.
Yeah,
and that's
obviously in the real world, homeschooling is different. As I said, you could take them off to a museum and you can go to the zoo, and it's all about that. But obviously, just being at home every day, it's a bit.
And they have like groups and communities.
Yeah,
but I think it's essentially a cult. I mean, I'm sure some people manage to do it, but essentially somebody's coming out there with a book. I mean, it's gonna, it's weird. It's weird.
I'm interested. If anybody, because I'm thinking of my friend has got a friend who's doing a podcast now called about homeschooling. I might get her on just Gemma's shaking her head. She's like, no, don't go on. But no, just after this experience, they might now be thinking I'm going to homeschool forever.
No, why would you do that?
I don't know why you fucking winding me up.
But the kids were going back. Reception kids were going back to school. Gemma sent me a WhatsApp saying, I'm doing cartwheels.
I said, we won, mate, we won. We fucking won the lottery, mate.
The WhatsApp are all going crazy.
But did I tell you that? So the school sent a survey out to us, to all the parents, saying, if we follow government guidelines or whatever, would you be willing to send your child back? I'd have to find out more, or absolutely not, I won't send my child. Anyway, so me, fucking yes, send. Results came back. I was only one of 18%. 18 fucking percent. 34% of them said absolutely not. And I'm thinking, well, I don't fucking know. But then maybe they're parents who are just, like, oh, I'm just made for it. I'm just made for it.
But I think we're assuming that those parents who are going, yeah, no, I want them here, are like intensely helicopter parenting their kid. They're just fucking ignoring them. They're like, they're no bother. Now I don't have to do the school run. I mean,
do you think that's what it is?
Kind of
that's what it is?
I mean, the school run's a massive deal and it's a pain in the arse. And if you can basically go, I don't have to do that and I'll ignore the kids all day. But we think, oh no, they're all being like Nigella in the kitchen and, they're teaching the kids stuff. We don't know that.
Or is it, do you think maybe that they're like, well, as long as my kids are here, I don't have to go to the office?
Yes.
I mean, we should say again, people don't know. The problem is, Gemma. You are a single mum, and that's the problem.
Wait, what do you mean it's a problem? I don't understand. What?
That's rude. That's so rude.
You're a single mum
because your marriage is working out. Is that what this is about?
So fantastic.
That's the problem. Single mums.
But I'm two against one again today. Two single mums. You're single mum and you work full time. I mean, all the mums on my WhatsApp that were saying, no, I don't know. They are mums that have got that choice, and it's a really hard choice. I think for people that have really got to work.
No, I mean it is a hard thing, and people want to go back to work, and they want to. I mean, I've got a lot of respect for people who just want to go back to their thing. I mean, quite often they've got other things they can't work. There's no income. We're making light of a situation that's a bit shitty for people, and it's a horrible situation. But
are you working, Jenny?
Yeah, are you working? You are.
Yeah, I do work, but I've always worked from home, so this is no different. So I'm basically.
But there's work for you. There is work for you, and that's brilliant. That's good.
Yeah, and also, I mean, when I'm working, obviously, I'm not looking after the kids in any way, and that's so there's a thing that it is a neglect of a way. When I say I don't want them to go back to school, I'm saying that they're just going to sit in their rooms, which is what they're doing. I'm not, because I'm massively homeschooling them. I don't know. You could get the perspective of my teenage son over there who's just making me a cup of tea.
I'm really wanting to say hello now.
Oh, I can't wait till I can make a cup of tea. Is he
making a cup of tea for himself or you?
No, he asked me if I wanted a cup of tea.
Oh,
Gemma's dream.
Sorry, what?
You say you want some?
No, I'm fine because I've got wine. But no, he regularly wakes me up with a cup of tea. Oh yeah.
oh my god!
I know. I look at you two. You're so jealous. This is.
We've got years to wait for that.
Oh my god! You do, not necessarily. He was doing it from about how old were you, Ed, when you were making me tea?
Year 7 or 8.
7 or 8. Year 7 or 8.
Oh, bless him.
So you can train that shit early on.
His hands are withered, but.
Yes, scolded arms.
Yeah, weeping.
So apart from the kids, then, what's been testing your patience during this lockdown?
I think the hardest thing is probably because we it's not necessarily looking after the kids, but we also obviously have to provide for them. So it's like buying or doing all the shopping and stuff. And you have to go, and you're not buying just for yourself, you're buying for a huge amount. And I have teenage kids, so they drink like ridiculous amounts of orange juice and stuff like that. So I think the trying thing is the amount of cooking, buying stuff, washing up, that is just, you're constantly in the kitchen. It's like we've gone back 40 years. We're suddenly like in the 50s.
Yeah.
And constantly cleaning, cooking, cleaning up. And I am not a housewife, and I never signed up to that. And that's the hardest thing, I think, probably, them being, it's like we've gone back to, you know, the 50s or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
You've had
Maybe
to get rid of all your staff, Jenny, is what you're saying.
Yeah, which is gutting. You know, I've had to let them all go.
I did think the other day, because
I furloughed Tamara, and it's very, very difficult. But you know, I think that's what I'm losing my patience with. Suddenly having to be a housewife when that's not what I freaking signed up for. You know, at all. In any way.
And have you lost it at all over this, you know, in your?
Oh my God, yeah. And also, we just moved into a rented accommodation. We have no outside space.
Oh.
Now I have 3 teenage boys.
Oh,
and
stink.
we have no outside space. It's awkward.
It's stinking.
I mean, we've got big bedrooms, which is good, but I just, every now and then, what we do to like relieve, we all talk to ourselves. Do you guys talk to yourselves?
Oh.
Because we talk to ourselves, we sing to ourselves, and that's fine. It's like the unwritten rule, you know, like you don't talk about, or whatever happens in Vegas you don't talk about it, right?
Right.
We just all accept that we are all talking to ourselves, we're all singing to ourselves, and nobody's allowed to mention it.
How about that? And was your husband like that as well?
No.
Gosh. So how do people know when you're talking to them?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. How do you know?
You just you get very used to knocking on the door before you walk in.
Oh, so it's not just like you making a cup of tea and you're going, oh, well, I don't know about
No,
that,
we also
Jenny.
do that. We also do that. We just
Okay.
accept, and you're just like, no, I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to myself. And it can be very animated. And this is not just me, it's all the kids. We all do it. We're like wandering around, acting stuff out, talking to ourselves. Guys, is this just us?
Sorry, Jenny, I can't relate.
I'm writing it down, and I'm going to be calling the special services at the end of
We all do it. You're like, you walk into a room, you're like, who are you talking to?
I know
Just
my
yourself.
sister used to say to me, like, one time when I was going through a rough time, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And I was living with some friends, but practically on my own. And she said, look, I find sometimes just sit in the bath and just talk to yourself, but out loud. She was like, just say it out loud. And I was like, really? And I felt a bit stupid, but it did kind of help. And let's say that's what.
But Hattie, don't you do that when you write jokes? My kids are well used to walking in on me practicing a set.
Oh, that's true. But
I sort of talk through. Yeah.
You're right.
So they're used to like me, blah, 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 and I said this, and then walking in, and then me going, no, ignore me, I'm just doing a set. But now they all do it.
Right. Wow. I think that I just sort of talk to my husband, but he's not really listening, but it's just a soundboard. So it's equivalent of talking to myself when I'm running through a bit of like something that I think's funny, and I'm like testing it out on him, but he doesn't know. Yeah. That's so interesting.
I think you should foster that. The talking to themselves is brilliant. It's like, instead of like being 3 people in the house or 4 people in the house, there's 8 people. In fact, if we're overcrowding, we're probably breaking some guidelines. There's 8 of us.
Some EU regulations, it's true. Yeah.
You're really going to have to, warn the next man that comes into the house. He's going to be like, this is a
some
busy
competition.
house. I love it. So what about you, Gemma? Have you had anything that's really tested your patience in this lockdown?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just the situation really, and it's just that, you know, I have good days and I have bad days, and it's just like I can't. So I was hating the teachers one day last week, and then I was just like, you know what? Actually, I haven't got a clue. It's all right for me sitting here in my, you know, my private sector job. But last week I did lose it with the teachers.
Are they at you all the time?
No, I mean, like, just teachers kicking up a fuss about having to, you know, the prospect of the schools reopening.
Oh, they were kicking up a fuss.
Yeah.
I was saying, right.
Yeah, so I just kind of fucking, so I was just like, fuck. Yeah, so I lost them. A couple of girlfriends of mine are teachers, and they were moaning on the WhatsApp group, and I had to just fucking mute it. It's just like, bollocks to you, bloody, you know. Then the prospect of basically my son going back to school on the 1st of June and then it just being whipped away from me, it was just too much for my patience to handle. But yeah, I suppose that's it really. But I mean, what I would say is I'm quite surprised about how I don't see anybody, and yet I can still hate people. I don't understand how this can be. You know what I mean? I just still seem to have a lot
burning up inside, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
As I said, I threw when I say I threw a chair at the wall, it was like probably 5 centimeters. It was like in a very tiny room. I think it's very, very far. But I mean, do you consider yourselves patient people generally? I mean, I read this thing that, you know, women are meant to be more patient than men, but I just don't. I don't know but for me, that's not true. My husband's much more patient than me. But then my mum and dad, my mum was miles more patient than my dad.
I would be interested to know how, because obviously me and Gemma, single mums, but you actually have your bloke around. Who is patient when who's dealing with the kid when they have a tantrum? Who's the patient one?
Well, we've been talking about this a lot lately because we've been talking to some behavioural specialists because we're having such trouble with our oldest. And so there's been a lot of those questions. And it sort of depends what sort of tantrum and outbursts he's having. It really does. A while ago, I would have said it's mainly my husband who's more patient, but I think, you know, this lockdown's really tested his patience. So, yeah, it just sort of depends. But I mean, I always thought I was a patient person. You know, I always said, like, I've worked with special needs, so I'm patient. Yeah. And then you have your own kids, and then it's just.
But it's different when it's your job because you know you can do it, but then you can get paid coffee. Yeah, and you're getting paid, and at some point you don't have to take it home with you. But I don't know. I think the patience thing is really. It's interesting, I think, because also I have a friend, like, you know what I said about being a bit of a yummy mummy, and the area I grow up in, the kids are grown up in that we live in, it's very yummy mummy-ish.
Right, okay. So I have, for the sake of the listeners, tell us where you're.
Oh, sorry, it's like Buckinghamshire, so it's like really south.
Oh yeah, central.
It's very posh, yeah. Not where I live. Where I live, Scumville, mostly because that's where I live. So it's just
dropped it down.
I've massively brought down.
You've got to bring the prices down somehow.
Yeah.
Go around talking to yourself. They're all fucking nutters.
Twitching. Just like sometimes I don't feel it, but I do it anyway, just for the house prices. Just walk around twitching and shouting to people and barking every now and then, just to bring it down, keep it real. So I do that. But it can be kind of, and one of my mates prides herself on never raising her voice to her children. Now, I don't think that's a good thing, because what does that teach them about anger and about emotions? It just teaches them that your mum is a fucking weirdo Stepford wife who never gets upset about anything. So I think you should shout at your kids, and I think you should swear in front of your kids, personally.
Do you?
Not loads, yeah. I always.
But yours are older now. I mean,
Yeah, but I have sort of like what I tried to introduce to them early on, and maybe it's because I do, is that words are powerful, and you have to show caution how you use them, and how you use them is so like if you drop an F-bomb in the right place, it can be beautiful,
effective, yeah,
and it's a great use of language, and it can be hilarious, and all those things. If it's done in the right place and the right time, and you know, and to use it selectively, and also to learn that language can also be hurtful, you know, and that kind of thing about being careful about what you say as well. So personally, and I am a shit mum, so do not take this as gospel, but I've always let my kids swear. If it's funny, I don't tell them off. If it's gratuitous, I bollock them.
Yeah.
Not that I want to blow smoke up your ass, Jenny, but if you're a shit mum, I don't think your son would have been making you a cup of tea since he was 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know what he's putting in the tea. He could be gobbing in it.
Exactly. And I don't know if he's if there's a gun held to his head. Of course, I don't know. But
No, you're definitely not a shit mum. When I was thinking about this today, I was like, I feel like you come across to me, Jenny, as a patient person, and obviously have an autistic son and one with ADHD. I mean, your patience must be, I know, like, again, you said it is different when it's your own, and I guess that's what fascinates me as well, because I've really, really, really beat myself up, and that's one of the reasons I went back to seeing my therapist again, is because I feel like I'm letting Huxley down a lot of the time, because I thought I'd be more patient, and yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going on with him in terms of his behaviour, but
honestly, Hattie, I think sometimes we're told that as parents we have to be right, and we have to win. It becomes a competition, who's the best parent, and sometimes I think in to do with stuff about how you deal with your kids and how they do academically, it's like it's not really about the kids, because all kids are different. It's like about how other people judge you and how other people think that you're doing as a parent. And I think that the minute that you let that go, and believe me, I had to have 2 very special needs demanding kids, and many, many years before I let it go. But the minute I let it go, that you've just got to stop thinking it's a reflection of you at all, then suddenly you become very focused. And oh God, I sound like I'm a wonderful mum here. I'm not. I'm a terrible one. But that is one aspect that I don't let bother me anymore. It's absolutely not a competition.
Worrying if you're good enough, you mean?
Yeah, because I'm not. I've done terribly, and as far as my kids are never going to win, and they're never going to be the best at stuff, and they're never going. And once you kind of like, and I got an easy out on that because they have their special needs. But once you kind of like, I think once you embrace that, because it's a proper mentality. Around here we have the 11 plus, which drives people nuts. Like fucking drives people nuts. Rational people go insane.
I've heard parents on the train and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm not getting into
unbelievable. Once you let go of that, once you go, I've lost, I'm not in the game anymore, then suddenly I think you become more patient, because you begin to like think, I know nothing more than these kids, and it's not that. I don't know. I just think once you...
It's weird, isn't it? Because I've been quite a confident person. It's like, I know other people, you hear this thing, people say, oh, I wasn't very confident, then I had kids, and kids gave me confidence. And I'm like, I've gone the other way around. Like, Gemma shaking her head. I feel like it's like, I think it's just because I'm permanently tired, but I just feel like it's. I feel like it will come back, because obviously I'm very much in the crazy stage, because they're both quite little. But yeah, sorry, this is turning into a therapy session. I didn't mean to, but I think I want. Yeah, but I think it will. I just want to get back that kind of like when it was just me. I didn't give a shit what people think.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I've always thought that's quite a gift that I had. And now I've got kids. It's like, I find myself getting sucked into worrying too much, and yeah.
But also, both your kids are pretty little. I imagine none of you are getting any sleep.
No, the youngest is 2 in July, and then the oldest is 4.5. He's going to be 5 in August. So
how can you be patient? You're knackered.
I know.
What about you, Gemma? If your kid's 4,
no, I mean he's not getting up in the morning, so I'm all right.
He's turned into a teenager.
Exactly, but without the sassy back chat. But I think that I feel like I'm too self-involved and too self-centered to worry what, in terms of being a mum, what other people think.
But that's good.
I'm too busy thinking about, like, but in a kind of really in a bit of a detached. Well, you say that, except that it's just like I feel like I should care more, and that I don't know. It feels a little bit abandoning, like I'm abandoning Al.
But like, how
in my head
parents
so
like?
much.
Did your parents?
Forget it. My mum would sit in our kitchen and have the door shut, chain smoking, drinking coffee, and if we wanted to come in, it'd be like, oh no, don't disturb mum. Yeah, I mean that sounds awful.
Mate,
sounds awful than it was.
5. My mum used to literally, like, when I was a baby, just leave us out on the porch all day.
Yeah. Mm.
Like all day.
And
you two have turned out so bloody well. So
yeah,
this is broken marriages.
I was like, I was brought by crows. It was like honestly.
We do over worry. I do it, and that's what I mean. I know that it's like sometimes I take that advice where they say, "What would you say to a friend?" And I was, when I'm having a word with myself, I'm like, for God's sake. And it's why I love talking to Gemma a lot of time. It's because, see, what you just described, Gemma, I just describe it as you're confident in, you're self-assured.
Just giving up, mate. Just giving up. Like, when you talk about patience, isn't another way of saying that is like, it's not about like necessarily patience. It's just like not ceasing to give a shit about things. That's another way of looking at it. And like if your kid sees you've run out of patience, then all they're really being exposed to is you showing natural emotion. And I'm not sure that that's necessarily a bad thing. And when you're screaming at them, get your shit together. I don't know. Maybe they should get their shit together.
Yeah. About the swearing thing, like Al today, there was a couple of cats in our garden, and he was just like, oh, look, that cat's pissing in our garden. I was like, oh, Al, like, piss is like...
You didn't like it?
But it's just that it was so casually used. It wasn't like being persistent. Like, He was like, oh, the cat's pissing in the garden. Like, that's what you said. That's what he was doing. I was like, oh, Al, piss, actually a bad word. But I remember a couple of years ago, on my bed, and Al was there, and the dog was on the bed as well. And Al started stroking the dog, and he was going, oh, fucking dog. Oh, fucking dog. Because every time I'd say dog, I'd say fuck it, the fucking dog. So he just thought it was called fucking dog. And I was like, yeah, I probably need to curb my language a bit. He thought the dog was called fucking dog.
Amazing. Oh. I think as long as they know that they can't really say it to old people.
No, exactly, yeah.
Then, I don't know, it's just language, isn't it?
What about you? Do you swear in front of the boys? Hey?
Me? I can't believe, touch wood, I've got away with it, because I do. And, Jenny, you're saying about being in their own world. Perhaps he's so in his own world, he just... doesn't give a shit. And he hasn't started repeating it yet, but I keep thinking it's going to come, because I am. But I'm trying. I don't know. I'm trying to curtail it, but it's been more since lockdown. Just like shit or fuck, really. That's it.
I mean, it's just language, isn't it? I mean, I think a lot of the worry about them saying it is that other grown-ups will hear them and think, oh yes,
that's completely it. Yeah.
And if you stop worrying about that, I mean, if they're using it, it's just it's language, and if they're using it nicely, I mean, to be honest, there's sometimes where the kids use it and it's fucking hilarious. I
Yeah.
remember when Lou, my youngest, he's the ADHD one, and I think it might genuinely be a side effect of his ADHD, but he is brilliantly funny. Like he's just unbelievable. And this must have been about 4 or 5 years ago. And the age he is, it must have been like 6. And I've never heard him swear before. And he was playing a video game with his brother, who is like 6 years older than him. And they were playing, and he just, the first time, and he's like, the kid's only just learned to speak. Like, he's playing the video games, gets the zombies, Eddie. Get the zombies. Get the zombies. Fucking zombies! And me and Eddie both had to like go, well, that's not acceptable, but also very funny, and do that thing where we both like laughing but trying not to laugh because it's not acceptable. But at the end of the day, it was really funny, and you know, he was using it expressively.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. He's not Shakespeare, but anyway, sorry, we got way off.
It's like, that's right. It's like you said, as long as they don't do it
yeah,
to the teacher or whatever.
yeah.
I remember the first time I heard a swear word. I think it was the first time not a swear word. I think it's the first time I heard the C word. Just still have a bit of a problem with the C word. I'm a bit old. Yeah, I don't know why.
Do you have a problem with the C word?
Yeah. I don't know why. Yeah. Like, I would, if I will use it, but you, like you said, savour the word. Like, you know, I'm being bloody business if I use that. But it was a girl at school, and she was a traveller, and she was new to the school, and they'd taken her gold necklace away. A clown gold necklace.
Of course, little dangly.
Amazing.
Dangly clown. Argos, sure.
She called the teacher, you know, and I was like, I'd never heard it before, but that was but he was powerful and oof. Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry.
I don't want to run out of time before we get to just cover. We sort of hinted, you dropped things in, or so we're talking about your lockdown situation and your. I can't remember, because we've been talking off record. I can't remember now what you mentioned, Jenny, about your current situation, because off air, as it were, you were talking at the beginning that you were actually having some beers with your ex tonight.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you split up, and it was about a year ago, did you say?
Yeah. We split up a year ago, but then we ended up having to live together for ages. And so I actually moved out about 2 weeks before the lockdown.
Ooh. That's good.
So you moved out. You moved out, Jenny. So he's still in the old family home.
Yeah.
Right. Is that a sensitive topic?
No, not at all. We're all chums about it. It all works out very well.
This seems to be happening. I've noticed that, I don't know. Maybe it's just every situation's different, but where the wife seems to move out.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a point where, because we had to live together for financial reasons in the same house for a long time, and I moved out to the spare room. Like, I was the one sleeping on the sofa, and I was like, a lot of guys leave the house. Like, I'm not doing that. And I went, well, yeah, but a lot of guys sleep on the sofa. They don't make their ex-wives sleep on the sofa. And he went, yeah. Are you a feminist or are you not a feminist?
Oh, here we go.
Like he was doing this for the suffragettes. So I got to sleep on a fucking futon for a year because my husband is a suffragette. That's how that works. So I don't know. It's guys. They're scumbags. I mean, what can you do? But yeah, that was.
So how long were you together for, if you don't mind me asking?
We were together for 20 years.
Wow.
Married for 15.
So you gave it a good go.
Yeah, we had a crack. I put up with a lot of stuff. But yeah. And it's very difficult, especially when you've got kids with special needs. I think it's very difficult when you split up. As Gemma, you'll know, like a lot of couples split up and they can just live different lives. But when you've got kids, there's the one person you desperately want to get out of your life forever, and that's never going to happen.
No, and it's just like, oh, okay, great. So basically, unless you die, basically, this is what we're okay. Yeah. I know it is a funny one. And did you do mediation? Did you do?
Briefly.
I found it was just like, okay, we're trying to find a way through, and it was it's quite an interesting thing, because it's this idea, Hattie, that you know, you've got these two people that are separating after a period of time. There's children, there's money, there's assets, and all that sort of stuff. They're probably both charged with anger and bitterness, and they're having to negotiate the rest of their lives, basically. And it's quite a big ask, and it didn't really work for us. He wasn't really mentally up to it, so I actually pulled the plug on it and said that he can't handle this. Because I thought that he would be made to agree to something that he wasn't mentally able to, to put his name to.
Because I mean, we went into it and they were like, so are you deciding to split up? And clearly we were in mediation because we decided to split up.
And a mutual split then, Jenny, can I ask?
In hindsight, no, he didn't want to split up, but now he does. I mean, you know, he's accepted to it now, and he understands why it was, but no, it was definitely me going, this is not right.
And was it something you felt for a long time?
These men will cling on. They will fucking cling on.
Because it's so much easier for guys. I mean, if you look at the stats, married men are much happier than married women. Married women are mostly fucking miserable.
Cheers.
Sorry, but I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sure not all married women, but like, marriage is marriage can be great and it can be amazing, but it's also set up in a patriarchy, and it definitely benefits men way more than it benefits women.
Go on.
Splitting up benefits men as much as men would love to go on about how their fucking wives took all their money. Women definitely do much worse out of splitting. We live in a patriarchy. It's a horrible situation, but we have to fucking suck it up and hope that it'll be different for our daughters or our granddaughters. And I don't know, it's very, very, very hard.
We've all got living boys. It's another show where we've all got boys.
We all have boys. We are part of the problem.
I know, we're trying to bring up non-selfish boys, but it's really hard.
But we are trying to bring up non-selfish boys, which hopefully will mean we have non-selfish men, which hopes things will get better for us eventually. We're fighting a good fight.
So you're right, but go on.
I was just wondering what you do to bring up boys who aren't misogynist.
Jen Brister, you need to see Jen Brister did a TED talk about it, a very good one about is that we seem to naturally treat little girls differently to the way we treat little boys, and in terms of that we kind of train little girls to be independent, whereas we'll be wiping boys' asses a lot longer than we would girls and stuff like that, and actually. So that's what Jen Brister was saying.
Yeah, it's loads of stuff. We did. I can't remember which podcast it was now, Gemma, but we did talk about it quite a lot, didn't we? I'm trying to remember.
Right.
We're going to run out of time again. So let's just wrap up with them. But how's it working out being single parent in lockdown then, Jen? So you still, to
be honest, I think that I have the best of worlds at the moment, because I was like, obviously before it was not a great situation, and then I managed to move out, and I actually have a really nice situation because all my kids really like the lockdown. I mean, I have trouble obviously trying to get, like, certainly my ADHD kid to do his schoolwork, but it's no different to any other parent. But we're quite happy. We've got a nice house. And I have the best of both worlds because I have the kids during the week and then they go to their dads. So I have the weekends to myself. And
what do you do at the weekend?
Oh my
So
God.
what did you
What do you do at the weekend?
gone?
Gemma, I have a fucking routine, mate. I
Go
put them
on.
the minute they leave the house at 4:00, and I love them and I miss them. But 4:01, when they leave at 4, I put the bath on, and then obviously I leave the door open, and I root up the telly. So I sit in the bath for probably about 4 hours until what I'm doing is sitting in Jenny soup
Yeah.
and watch telly. Just sit in the bath, watching telly, drinking gin. Oh my God. Guys, it's amazing. And you can only get this when the kids are older. But it just, honestly, I'm just sitting there until I've like 50% dissolved. I'm drinking gin, watching Schitt's Creek. That is my routine. And if I'm honest, that pretty much, I mean, I'm pretending that I don't do that every night. I do that every night.
Gemma, do you do any particular treats when Alistair goes to his dad?
I might get a takeaway.
Nice.
For one, curry for one. No, not really. No, I mean, well, when lockdown was, before lockdown, I'd go out.
So you
I'd go
mates,
out.
yeah.
Zone 1, late night, and go and see my mates.
Yeah. Well, I've got so many more questions, and now I've got a blooming wrap up. I wanted to talk.
Oh my God, we should definitely do one about ridiculous Zoom dating.
I wanted to talk about Zoom dating, but just very quickly, have you done any Zoom dating, Jenny? Really quick, we've got 5 minutes.
I've done app dating, like, and texting.
But you haven't dated since the lockdown?
No. Well, one day, like literally one day, and that was fun.
Because Gemma, I want to set you a task, so please do one just for the sake of the show and report back. It'd just be so funny because my friend was telling you about.
Oh my God, look at her face! She does not want to do this.
Tuesday, and he was like, the thing is, he goes, she was talking so much. He goes, and I just, because it's on Zoom, you sort of like, it's really difficult to get in and sort of get out. Okay, no, Gemma's not up for that.
No.
Let's talk about it offline.
We'll talk about it offline. She's going to think about it.
Oh my God,
Jenny,
I'll do it for the thing.
Will you do it as well? Then you can come.
Yeah.
Well, because we know this pandemic's going to go on forever. These weekly podcasts are probably going to go on forever. Jenny, have you got anything that people can, you want to big up that you'd like people to be following, or?
I think Sam White on Twitter is amazing. Pandemonium, obviously, on Twitter as well, amazing. And my old sketch group people, so that's Claire Wetton and Laura Major on Twitter. If you do follow those people, you're going to have a laugh. They're brilliant people. I think probably also just get in touch with the girlfriends, get in touch with your sisters, and do this, but just girls, because it's a nice. It's not a hen night. It's chatting, and that's important.
Oh, that's such a Sean. Gemma, do you want to finish?
No, I think that was beautiful from Jenny.
That was beautiful, wasn't it? Jenny, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having us. Loved it.
Well, do this again, either on this or in person, if we're ever allowed to meet and hug again.
Oh, no. I think we could spend the whole evening just chatting and drinking.
I know. You've been listening to the Funny Mummies Podcast with me, Hatty Ashdown. Thank you to my panel and guests today. Edited and produced by Scott Kingsnorth in association with Screaming with Laughter, the lunchtime comedy club where babies can come too. These shows go out live on Soho Radio for the Other Woman show. See schedule for details. Please subscribe, rate and review and share this podcast. We really appreciate it, and it's the only way more people can find us. So see you next time for more Mum and Tonic.